button.
No shit.
I usually go live on StreamYard first. And
Yeah, I usually do too, but I mixed it up, all right?
You fucked it up?
No, I didn't. I just switched it.
Hit the button too early.
No, I hit it too late.
No,
usually I hit it when
early.
it drops.
No.
Why are you starting this show with unnecessary pettiness?
I mean, you weren't here last week and you fucking up the feng shui, man. That's what I'm saying. You gotta play that first.
How do I make this bigger?
I mean, just click on the dimensions.
How am I going to click on the... This man does not know technology.
There should be some shit on the corner. You can just go full screen. There you go. There he goes.
Jesus Christ, I
Let's
don't know
go.
if I want to see myself that big. Damn, I'm kind of ugly.
I mean, your hairline is a medical condition. You could technically get a handicap placard with your hairline. So,
what's up, good people? It's Touchdowns and Tangents live from the Good News Sports Studio out of Manchester, California. Shout out to the X Squad affiliates. Shout out to FBC Radio. Shout out to the Good News Sports app where you can hit us live every Thursday, 8:30. And also on touchdownsandtangents.com, on demand, your favorite podcast app, etc.
Indeed. Indeed.
As you know, I'm PD Camarillo.
I'm Kenneth Frank James Berry. And the F is for filibuster.
Wow. But yeah, man, there's a lot of news to talk about this week. Hold up, I'm going to fix the camera a little bit.
Odell Beckham Jr. I mean, it's not like we didn't call it, because we kind of called it on multiple fronts. Yeah, that's actually better. People could actually see that my eyes are open. I don't look super high. I'm not high, by the way. It just looks that way. But yeah, touchdown tangents. Odell Beckham Jr. cleared waivers. He is free. I was going to make an Amistad joke, but I just don't have the energy to do that. That's pretty fucked up, too.
I mean, between Odell Beckham Jr. to the Rams and Cam Newton returning to the Panthers, it's like we literally forget
that we called
predictions.
We technically definitely called it. Like the fact that
Les Snead hire us. Les Snead's probably listening to this podcast, honestly.
If he's not listening to the podcast, he's definitely channeling our energy. He's like going back and listening to the energy they're on. He's like, okay, I know what I got to do next. Like the Jalen Ramsey trade, called it. Leonard Floyd was a perfect pickup. Clay Matthews was actually a solid pickup. I'm surprised. I mean, they could have kept him and he would have been a better middle linebacker than what they have right now.
That was the whole reason why they got him, because he didn't want to play middle linebacker in Green Bay anymore.
Yeah. He's like, you know how many Pro Bowls I could have had as an edge rusher? I'm still the all-time sack leader in Green Bay history.
That's pretty crazy to think about, actually.
He made a Pro Bowl as a middle linebacker. And on top of that, the Thursday night football game with the Dolphins and the Ravens right now, Justin Houston, I think at 38 years old or 35 years old. I forget. He's definitely late 30s, mid to late 30s. But he had his 100th career sack.
Yeah, man. Shout out to Justin
Third-round
Houston.
pick out of Georgia.
One of the few Chiefs I respect.
Always wanted him to be a Raider. Never worked out that way.
Shout out to Tom Ali.
Should we talk about the Raiders? Or should we just wait to get more depressed?
I mean, technically, I wasn't here last week, so, I mean,
you got something to say about the Henry Ruggs situation? Because I don't really give a fuck about David Arnett or anyone that loves him. So,
yeah, Damon Arnett is on some other shit.
It was a waste of a pick. Like, bro, he wasn't even a good corner on Ohio State's team. Like, I don't know. It was a worse pick than what's the dude's name? I think he's out of the league now. He played for the Texans after getting traded. Conley, Gareon Conley. Like,
yeah,
that was a worse pick than Gareon Conley.
Yeah, for sure. Gareon Conley actually wasn't that bad.
He was bad.
He's also a head case.
He was bad.
Nah, he wasn't that bad. He actually had picks. He actually had a season with 3 picks. In like 10 games.
So did Fabian Washington.
In like 10 games.
But he wasn't all that great. So he gave up touchdowns. He was okay.
It's not even that he wasn't that great. It's that their whole defense was so damn bad. The 3 Raiders defense he was on were really bad, bro. Like historically bad.
So we pretty much just got Josh Jacobs for Khalil Mack straight up.
Yeah, the whole thing with the Henry Ruggs situation, I wrote a column about it, and I mean, I think you talked a lot about it last week. It's just a terrible situation for everybody involved. Like, this man essentially set his family back generations off one really bad decision. And as someone who's been on both sides of the wheel, in this case, I've been both hit by a drunk driver, and I've been a drunk driver who didn't harm anyone, but still, it's not something that you can ever excuse because it only takes one time. You can get home 100 times, and that one time it just doesn't work out. Ruggs, best years of his life ahead of him. Now he's facing up to 50 years in prison.
5 felony counts.
Released by the Raiders after only a season and a half. Was finally starting to really catch on with Derek Carr. Probably playing the best football of his entire life. And just like that, it's all gone in a snap.
He was leading the league, I think, in yards per catch at like 24, 22.
Just a sad story, and then as we heard more about the victim and her dog, and it just sucks. Like, so much potential just gone off one incident. Yep, same age.
3 people's lives changed forever. His girlfriend, his child may never be the same after this.
And I think when I watched that video of like the girlfriend and him, and they were crying and yelling, and it was just. Like, that's probably one of the realest videos I ever seen, to be honest.
I couldn't watch it. It was too much trauma. Like, seeing him crying. He tried to pry the door open to get her out and couldn't do it. So now he probably thinking about his dead homie from high school who died in a car accident and how he caused, like, he literally played a role in the cycle. Like, that's enough. They might have to have him on suicide watch, bro. Because that's a lot to put on somebody's head.
Well, Devontae Smith said that he talked to him since and said that he's doing better. You know, I mean, I don't know how you can ever be good in that sort of situation, but he's doing better. I mean, considering the position that he's in, and he's not on fucking Instagram Live threatening to kill people and calling them fags and playing with guns and all that shit. I know, but that's what he was saying. Like, I'm not saying it. I'm just saying what he was saying.
But it's like, it's just weird to even. Like, I remember how freely that word flowed growing up, and there's like a 5-year period where like we all got older and we just chose not to say it, and the fact that like he's old enough to grow up in his time to know, like, bro, you don't have to call everybody out their name.
Exactly, and not just that.
And not even just, like, calling somebody that word, but, like, you're not from Atlanta, bro. Like, why you got the Draco out and shit, threatening people to shoot people? Why don't you threaten to shoot some of these receivers who keep beating your ass every week?
Yeah, and that's my whole point is, like, you literally just watched a man lose everything in a second. And rather than, you know, taking a chance to
let me be stupid,
reset and have some gratitude that it's not that far, it's like, nah, let me fucking I don't know what the purpose was. Because like, if you care about your game that much, then work on your game. Like, I don't understand how he hasn't gotten better in a year and a half.
You know, because he was a fleet. Like, the Raiders could have had Jefferson for the Vikings. They passed on him in the draft. They passed on a bunch of cats at the end of the first round. Like, that's why I go back to that draft when they could have had Devin White. Even if you keep Josh Jacobs, you could have had Devin White, Josh Jacobs, and Montez Sweat. That fixes your defense for the next 10 years. And then, like, if you just draft guys who can play and they don't have to fit your system, they can play in any system, and you just draft the best player available, naturally your team gets better. But no, you like treat the NFL draft like it's like, oh, this is only gonna, like, I have to take this person even if it's way too high. I have to take this person to fit my shit. And it's like, bro, you've not been a successful coach outside of winning a Super Bowl with somebody else's players. And this is bigger than this is, by the way, Christopher Williams, who was in New Jack City. He apparently is in a coma. So this is bigger than, as Wesley Snipes said, this is bigger than me. This is bigger than, if you saw New Jack City, you know that scene. But this is bigger than him. This is bigger than John Gruden, Jack Del Rio, Reggie McKenzie, Mike Mayock. This is a fundamental failure. This is over a decade of just debaucherous dumbassery. I'm honestly going to make, now I know what my title is going to be for this Raiders piece I've been writing for the past, year and a half, how to describe the last 15 years of watching Raiders football and how it's literally been the same shit. Literally, the Raiders are their own time loop. It's like, Dormammu, I've come to make a deal. Except the things they do just become stupider and stupider. If What If was a real-life thing, it would be the Oakland Raiders. What if I just keep making all the wrong decisions? Time after time after time again. The wrong free agents, the wrong contracts, the wrong coaches, the wrong players, or the right players, but not enough infrastructure to actually back them up. Saying commitment to excellence, where's the excellence? I don't fucking see any. I see a commitment to just idiocy, commitment to empty promises. That's what the Raiders are.
I think the other thing that you're missing on it, too, is under the Gruden-Mayock regime over the past 3 years, what we were sold is, well, they're high-character guys, right? These are guys from championship programs who know what it takes to compete at the highest level. So that's why we want to bring them into our culture so that they can make everyone step up and compete. Well, guess what?
That's some shit Urban Meyer would say.
Guess what?
You're not competing.
Proof's in the fucking pudding, right?
7-10 looks realistic this year, like I said.
Half of the players you drafted, to Kenny's point, are not panning out.
70% of them.
They're either in the wrong row completely, or they're just ass.
Or they're better on other teams.
Yeah, or they go and find ways to stay in the league, like Shelby Harris,
Stacey McGee,
and Danico Autry,
who had 9 sacks and went to the Pro Bowl.
So either
Mike Mitchell,
players go on and have a better career elsewhere, or we just put them in the wrong spot, or it just whatever. It just doesn't work out. But we were supposed to at least have good guys. Right? Guys who knew how to win. Guys who knew how to play football. Guys who loved football. Well, turns out the one selling us that was actually the snakeskin salesman, 1. And 2, it didn't take long for those players to show their true colors. So
also, they're gonna. It's literally the equivalent of 3-card Monty. That's what the Raiders have been. And Kyle Davis died. And I
think, to their credit, they have hit more in the later rounds and the undrafted. But for every Max Crosby and Hunter Renfrow, there's literally 3 Jihadi Wards or Menelik Watson,
Mario Edwards.
He's still
Jr.
in the league. He's actually not that bad. He's actually not that bad.
Mario Edwards Jr.
He's not
Derrick
that bad.
Henry, right?
That's bad. That's bad.
Never.
That is definitely bad.
Never. Oh, no. No. What's his name? The West Virginia safety that got cut and brought back. Carl Joseph at 15. Chris Jones was in the second round. And everybody knew that Mississippi State defensive linemen are NFL ready. Also, we can take this all the way back to one of the first draft classes with what's his name, DJ Hayden. You know who else was? DJ Hayden went 12. You know where DeAndre Hopkins
The thing
went?
is, though,
in the 20s, bro.
I mean,
everybody
that's
knew
bad.
DeAndre Hopkins was a beast. Alec Ogletree still in the league. Starlin Tuatelli still in the league.
That's bad.
Travis Kelce was in that draft. Le'Veon Bell was in that draft.
That's bad.
Name for me
But
who
not as bad as the fact that
they passed on.
DJ Hayden is not that bad compared to some of the other picks that we had.
But 12, he had a heart condition.
Like at least DJ,
he wasn't even the best corner in college football.
At least DJ Hayden fucking made a name for himself. That's more than Garyon Conley or Damian Arnett can. Like at least DJ Hayden got a second contract
with the Jags, who were terrible.
He still got a second. No, he got a third contract because he went somewhere else before that.
He might still be in the league.
He went to the Lions first before that. Remember?
All I know is,
and he was with the Texans too, I think.
All I know is I think he's still in the league.
He's not in the league, but he's around the league, so
Chris
he's getting
Johnson,
workouts still.
Stanford route, they're all the same corner. Tell me how they all run 4.3s. They can't catch or shit. Yeah, I mean, he got a pick. The highlight of DJ Hayden's career is intercepting Peyton Manning. And I think they lost that game.
I mean, that made Tracy Porter a lot of money.
By the way, Casey Hayward's been a great free agent pickup, but that was 3 years too late. Desean Jackson was a really good free agent pickup, but that was 4 years too late. Remember when he went to Washington? And then he went to Tampa Bay? But the Raiders, he couldn't.
Raiders Twitter wanted him to come, and then
after he left Philadelphia,
the Redskins brought in RG3 and Wale and somebody else too. I think it was John Wall. There you go.
Oh, and Kirk Cousins.
Was it Kirk Cousins? I don't think it was Kirk Cousins.
Kirk Cousins was in the same draft class as RG3. He was the 4th round pick, and that's how everybody was.
Nah, but they were using RG3 to recruit Desean Jackson.
All I know is he could have easily been a Raider 4 or 5 years ago. Casey Hayward could have been a Raider before he went to the Chargers. There's a reason why cats don't want to come to Oakland. Because, you'll come here, but then they'll draft crappy players, and then it's just you, and then your profile goes down, and then you got to reinvent yourself somewhere else. Whereas, you can come to Oakland and actually be competitive, somewhat now, but it's a makeshift defense. If 2 or 3 guys go down on this Raiders defense, they're done for the season. It's over. And apparently Trayvon Mullen is kind of, he's kind of not out of the woods yet with some of the stuff he's been doing. So
I don't think it's that big of a deal to comment on some porno, but probably the timing of it is kind of bad. But
and aren't Raiders DBs known for one thing, bad timing?
I thought you were going to say being handsy.
More like bad timing. If they were handsy, they'd actually get more hands on balls. At least not.
Trayvon Mullen is the best corner we've had in a long time.
That's not saying anything at all.
It's saying something.
I'd rather have Chris Houston when he came out of Arkansas.
Hayden.
Chris Houston when he came out of Arkansas.
Trayvon Mullen is better than DJ Hayden.
Is he better than Chris Houston, who played for the Falcons and the Lions? 2nd round pick, 3rd overall.
I don't even know who Chris Houston is, I'm being honest.
You can go back and Google it. Shout out to whoever's in the chat. We can't see you right now. By the way, pull up the chat for StreamYard. See who's in there.
Nobody.
I just wanted to see. Honestly, though,
waste my damn time.
All I'm saying is, actually, there's somebody watching. Salute to whoever you are out there watching.
Probably my homie C's.
Yeah, but it's just funny when you really think about it. And this guy, I guess, this kind of curtails into our IG post that went damn near viral. With over like 200 likes. Would you rather have a shutdown corner or a corner who gets a lot of interceptions but gets beat deep?
I'd rather have a ball hawk. I'd take a Marcus Peters over a Nami Osmo any day.
Patrick Peterson? Lately, he's been getting burnt.
Yeah, I was going to say.
In his prime, not so much. Well, somebody commented.
I'd also take a corner who can tackle over a corner who can't.
Okay, like Champ Bailey is like a complete corner, right? Deion Sanders, complete corner. But yeah, so take this into account. Darrelle Revis, right? Best corner of his era. Hall of Fame corner. Richard Sherman, I'm still not sold on that. Patrick Peterson, yeah. I think those are the only 2 Hall of Fame corners.
All right, bro. We got a lot of news to talk about, so we don't need to go down your fucking wormhole right now.
No,
get to the point.
I'm about to try.
Get to the fucking point.
I'm right there.
Get to the fucking point.
You move out the way. So you look at the Rams, right? They got a shutdown corner in Jalen Ramsey. Would you be more comfortable with a Jalen Ramsey or Trevon Diggs?
In that case, I would take Jalen Ramsey.
Even though I think
because he can still create. He still creates turnovers, and he can tackle. He can play any of the 5 secondary spots.
You sure?
Yeah. You see why I didn't want to go into this question? Because the answer was short.
I thought you had
not great radio. Not great radio.
I thought you had more to say.
Not your best radio.
I thought you had more to say, bro. Well, let's talk about this.
That's why sometimes stuff that's on social media is better just left there because it's not always the best radio.
I think it's a fair question because I mean, how long is this?
You're not taking Trayvon Diggs over Jalen Ramsey.
I'm not, but it depends what kind of team I have. If I have the Chargers, I'd take a Jalen Ramsey because honestly, they need. No, I would take a Trayvon Diggs if I'm the Chargers because you need your defense to create points for you when you're somehow not doing so great.
I mean, I think the
Rams have everything at their disposal, so of course you take Jalen Ramsey. But if you don't have that, then you get a corner who will get you a pick 6 or 2.
Yeah, fair.
If you're the Raiders, if you're going to have Jalen Ramsey on the Raiders, that's pretty much like having Nnamdi on the Raiders. They still ain't going to win shit, and the second corner's getting picked on all game. Well, in this case, they would have Casey Hayward, so it wouldn't be that bad. But, yeah, so Lamar Jackson, this game, surprisingly, I'm just curious with Miami when it comes to the Dolphins.
Bro, nobody cares about Thursday Night Football. If they care, they're watching it.
Well,
this is why we need to run down in, sir.
The Dolphins won 20.
This is why we do a rundown, good sir.
Well, not this week. I didn't write it down, but I know everything. I didn't write it down for you, but I wrote it down.
We haven't talked about 7 big things that happened this week.
Well, let's talk about them. We already pretty much ran over most of the most late breaking stuff.
No, we didn't talk about any of the breaking stuff. We talked about stuff from last week, and then we talked about
this week. Odell, Desean Jackson.
We didn't even talk about Desean Jackson.
I mentioned
we talked about the Raiders in the same rant that we have every single week.
I find. What else is there to say about Desean Jackson other than he's their best receiver already?
He's not their best receiver. Hunter Renfrow is. But
first, Hunter Renfrow. Tired of you and your
Desean Jackson.
This Hunter Renfrow bullshit. Hunter Renfrow
bullshit is there.
Hunter Renfrow got his shit tossed up against the Chargers. Don't tell me he's their best receiver when all you do is run underneath routes.
He's literally their best receiver.
He's their most consistent receiver.
He's literally their best receiver.
No, that would
He's literally their best receiver.
That would be Darren Waller. He's their best receiver. Nobody's afraid of Hunter Renfrow. This goes back to the Clemson days with Tony Brown, the Alabama corner, was like, we just made sure Hunter Renfrow didn't do anything. And there you can kill all that noise.
And I've been saying that Hunter Renfrow was better as a second or third option, but that doesn't mean that he's sorry.
Okay, you can't be the slot receiver, the third option, and be the best receiver on the team. That
he's
doesn't
not
work.
The third option. He's the second option behind Darren Waller. But what I'm saying is he would be even better if he was the third option. Like had the Raiders brought in a peak Odell, and that was their number one, or had they had kept Amari Cooper, Hunter Renfrow would be a great third receiver, fourth receiver. Be awesome. But he's not. And it's the same thing kind of with the pass rush situation. It's like Max Crosby was good last year or 2 years ago, But then the second year when we expected him to be the guy by himself, it's like he was still a 5th-round pick or 4th-round pick. Like, you can't expect this man to do everything. But now this year we got him some help. We got some defensive tackles. We got a defensive end. He doesn't have to do everything. He's thriving. It'll be the same thing with Hunter Renfrow when we can get a slew of targets around him. Like, we were getting there with Henry Ruggs.
Yeah.
We were getting there when we had, Nelson Aguilar, or when Zay Jones was looking like a good 5th receiver. Like, we had a group, but the bottom kind of falls out when you take your biggest X factor out of that at Henry Ruggs. Now, Desean Jackson, they hope, will replace some of that, but this man is 34 years old, and he's
not as fast as he used to be. He's still incredibly fast, but, he's not 4.25 fast anymore.
There's a lot of Spencer James comms to Desean Jackson these
You're
days.
being disrespectful as fuck, and you haven't even seen all of All-American. You're being disrespectful, and you need to stop. Because Inglewood High School is right down the street, bro. You need to stop. Well, actually, it's far over yonder, but, stop it. And Inglewood.
All I know is when Desean Jackson made a cameo, and then they were like, "Oh yeah, he's from our area," and blah blah blah. I was like, "Bro, Desean Jackson is from Long Beach. This show's supposed to take place in Inglewood. Not the same thing, but okay."
Have you ever said Inglewood?
We'll rock with it. We'll rock with it for cultural appropriation
Pete,
purposes.
Have you ever said Inglewood growing up?
Eaglehood?
You always said Inglewood. You never said Inglewood.
No, I never.
Okay,
did.
that was just a Hawthorne thing then. There was a thing years ago. I think it's still
Idlewood. Idlewild.
Nah, where they all the Mexicans at Lawndale would always say Inglewood instead of Inglewood.
Wow.
The black players.
So
some
you're
of
racist.
Them, no, the black players didn't know how to say Hawthorne correctly. It was like Hawthorne or some shit. And they're like, what? And I'd be like, how do neither one of y'all know how to properly say words correctly? It's Hawthorne, Inglewood.
I still don't know who the fuck Lusinger is. Where does that name even come from?
Because you used to lose a finger at Lusinger. That was a real thing. Motherfuckers was getting stabbed up. Lusinger was really bad 10 years ago.
All right, other stuff we got to talk about from the week. Your boy Cam Newton coming back to the Panthers. I think you threw that out there too as a halfway joke, and I laughed at it. I was like, why would he go back there after how things ended? Sure enough, the Panthers wanted that old thing back.
And it's funny because they're still paying for Teddy Bridgewater, who replaced Cam, and they're paying Sam Darnold, who got injured and is on IR, who replaced Teddy. And then they bring back Cam, who's getting about $10 million. Cam's just looking at him like Kermit the Frog at a stoplight, looking at you.
I mean, I get it. The South is not that great outside of the Buccaneers.
They're 4-5. They're not out of it.
And they've made some moves. Stephon Gilmore got a pick versus his former team. I said his name wrong?
Nah, I was about to say something else, but never mind.
What, you going to say he's the most overrated great corner of all time?
No, he's technically the best corner to come out of the Carolinas since Chris Gamble. South Carolina, North Carolina, Dre Bly. Yeah,
Clemson?
He's better than all the Clemson corners. Because, Gilmore went to South Carolina. He's technically better than all the South Carolina corners. Yeah. The best corner of the Carolinas. They have a defense that's there. That's right there. But man, if they could just fix that offense. DJ Moore is a good receiver. Robbie Anderson is a pretty decent deep threat half the time. He's like Ted Ginn Jr., but without all the drops.
Other shit we got to talk about on a sadder note, that whole Travis Scott situation. What did you think about it, Kenny? Let's hear what you think about it, Mister. I've never been to a music festival. Let's hear your thoughts.
Music festivals, just not on the level of that. But I've been to concerts. I've been to all type community festivals.
Okay, are you telling me?
But I've been to concerts before.
Okay.
I went to a Wu-Tang concert. I went to a System of a Down concert.
Okay.
bottom line is, fuck you. I get it. I didn't go to Coachella, and I regret
I'm just
it.
saying, have you ever been a crowd of 50,000 people all singing the same song?
No, but I have been.
Then you never been to a music festival. So continue. What the fuck did you think about it?
Okay, I'm gonna just say this. Security was ass. We all know that.
Security's always ass. We all know that.
But the report that came out where somebody was getting stuck with the needle, the dude who came out,
they said that was fake.
He said it was a lie. He got punched in the face. That's usually what happens when you get punched in the face at a concert or close quarters. Here's my thing. I don't blame Travis Scott. I blame the governor of Texas. Abbott's bitch ass. You opened up the state. You let Texas be wild. You created a situation where kids could go to a fucking concert for Travis Scott, which is like adult material. 12-year-old kids, 11-year-old kids. First off, why the fuck you letting your kids go to a Travis Scott concert under the age of 18 anyway? Under the age of 15 anyway? That seems like a parental failure. First off. Take some fucking accountability for you being a shit parent. Don't send your kid. First off, if you listen to Travis Scott, it only takes 5 minutes to like, yo, fam, there's going to be weed and alcohol. There's going to be drug and liquor consumption at a Travis Scott concert. Somebody's going there to rage. Shit's already going to be violent and crazy. But I read an article somewhere that said, like, now it only matters because white kids started dying. But when black kids were getting fucked up at Travis Scott concerts, by the way, you could point to a 9 Inch Nails concert years ago where, like, 10 people died. Somebody died at an Ariana Grande concert. People used to pass out at Michael Jackson concerts, but nobody died. Motherfuckers use concerts as a chance to do whatever, or festivals, whatever. Use that as a chance to do drugs and wild out and just have no regard for the rules. And then when somebody gets fucked up because of your selfish actions and you cause somebody's death, you're not individually held accountable for what you did to create a mob environment. You blame the person who put the concert on, who didn't have to perform for some of you raggedy motherfuckers. And as far as I'm concerned, sue the insurance company, sue Live Nation. That's what insurance is for. Yeah. But don't cancel Travis Scott and take him off day and night and all this other shit. That's what I hate about this generation of like people want to cancel everybody. It's like y'all really wouldn't have survived our childhoods because wild shit happened all the time. I remember like 10 years ago when they had the festival at USC and it was right before a game. It was like a rap concert and it was like an EDC event and a bunch of people OD'd.
What was EDC?
Yeah, a bunch of people OD'd. They fucked up the turf. USC was pissed about it. The Coliseum was pissed about it. I'm like, well, that's what happened. You held a fucking rave. What do you think people do at EDC? Drugs. Alcohol.
Do you love drugs?
I'm sorry, like, can we not act like people don't go to festivals and concerts to get fucked up and be inebriated and do whatever they want? Like, come on. So don't sit up here and blame Travis Scott and want to make him the fall guy for all this shit and Drake the fall guy for it. When that's just whack. Because, again, nobody held Ariana Grande accountable when somebody died at her concert.
I'll just say this.
And he's willing to pay for all the victims.
As someone who's seen Travis Scott 5 times, like, what the fuck do you expect?
Thank you.
Like, I'm not going to go as far as you to say, like, oh, you shouldn't bring kids under a certain age.
You shouldn't.
Because, I mean, they listen to the music, they buy the music, they're buying the shit too. So, hey, if your kid is responsible enough and you have that sort of relationship where you can go with them, like, it's probably better for them to experience their first concert with your parent and learn how to do it responsibly.
There were kids there by themselves.
Responsibly.
There were kids by themselves running through those gates.
With that, I don't know if I would take a 9 or 10-year-old or 11-year-old in the actual pit, period, let alone the pit of a Travis Scott concert. And if I do, I'm damn well sure I'm going to have a big enough group to where we can have some space, to where we can look out for each other if we get lost, to, have enough water to pass around, all that shit.
medical equipment.
Motherfucker, who brings a medical equipment to a fucking...
You'd be surprised. People bring shit like that. Motherfuckers who have asthma go to concerts.
I don't know if you could bring an EpiPen to a festival.
You'd be surprised what you could sneak into a festival.
I don't know if you could bring a fucking EpiPen
Niggas bring
into a
drugs,
concert.
bro. People bring drugs into festivals. You telling me you can't bring in a fucking EpiPen? You security won't be like, oh, okay, here's a medical tent. You can leave.
That's how I know you're a fucking square, bro.
No, I'm not a square. I just know.
Imagine everyone. Hey, I brought this drug. I brought this drug.
Bro, I went
Kenny comes out.
Nah.
I got an EpiPen in my fupa.
It wasn't me. Nah. I don't need an EpiPen. Fuck you. Nah, I went to a Lupe Fiasco concert a couple years ago.
You might need an EpiPen if you got too much fucking sugar.
No, that's not how that works. I don't think you understand how EpiPens work. If anything,
diabetic coma works.
I was just gonna make a hair follicle joke, but never mind. It's not even worth it. Never mind. But anyway, when it comes to that shit, bro, at concerts they do have like shit set up. Like, oh, you hard of hearing? Do you need like medical like expenses?
No, yeah, I know.
Motherfuckers in wheelchairs have been at concerts, so don't tell me like you can't have safety precautions on your own to go to a concert. Like, bro, if you're going to
safety
a rave,
precautions are bringing water and bringing towels and bringing hand sanitizer.
Medical shit they got to bring with them, bro. I just told you.
I guess.
Bro, when I went to Big Show at C-Sun, there was a motherfucker in a wheelchair who had his own, like, shit. Like, they had things prepped for him. They're like, okay, if you need such and such, like, certain medical, whatever.
Yeah, but you're also talking about event hosted by a government institution versus
but I'm saying
a shit show.
They have that. Yeah, it was a shit show because it's Texas. Yeah. Texas is a shit show. But I'm saying
the other point, anyways, I don't really care about your fucking EpiPen. I just wanted to point it out.
EpiPen was just. I don't know why you keep holding on to EpiPens. I'm just saying
that's like bringing fucking Tim's to the beach, bro. Like,
I mean, was Odell not on a boat with Tim's?
My point exactly.
Yeah, but still, people.
And how many receiving touchdowns has he had since then?
15.
Yeah, your stomach answered that question. Your stomach dropped as soon as I asked that.
I was like, that one hurt. Like I should have saw that setup coming.
Sound like a little fucking little puppers in there, like growling at me.
Bro, I'm gonna punch you in the face. Shut up. But nah, seriously though, like.
The other thing I'll say is this. I think if Travis Scott, because, I mean, it was his own festival, so I think that if he cut any corners, there was anything that were recommended to him by the venue or the promoter or even his team, and he was like, nah, we don't need that, then I think he does have some responsibility because that's why you do go to the music festivals. Like, motherfuckers think it's about, just getting exposure and stuff, having all these stages and these bands, but it's really crowd control. Like, that's why you have 2 and 3 performers going at the same time. So everyone's not in the same spot at once. Because that's when bad shit happens. And anyone who's been to a show like that knows that. So I don't know if it was a Travis Scott oversight and he just underestimated the sort of pool that he had. Because, dog, it was only 5 years ago I saw this man at a fucking rodeo in Santa Barbara for $15 with 200 people. Like, so the glow up, whatever you want to call it, that he's had is seriously unreal. But yeah, so I mean, I don't know, man. It's kind of like the Henry Ruggs situation where it's like it's just a tragedy, like all the way around. Like, it's not their fault that they died. It's not Travis Scott's fault that they died. It's not the crowd's fault. It's just
it's some individuals.
It just is.
It's individuals who go to concerts and then they press the issue and create a fucking mosh pit where people get trampled to death. Like, I blame those individual motherfuckers who will skate free on this and then want to point the finger back at Travis Scott. Like, no, you're the asshole who goes to a concert.
But that's like chaos. That's like going to the beach and getting mad because there's women who are sunbathing or fucking in dongs. Like,
that's definitely a false equivalence.
It's not, bro. It's like, yeah.
If you go
it's
to
like,
a concert
that's the extreme.
to start fights and create chaos,
But those people exist. That's the extreme.
And
like, I'm not
shit.
saying that it's good or it's right or that's how you should be, but that's what you prepare for. That's what you take precautions
it's like
for.
dudes who show
That's
up.
why you're in a buddy system. That's why you stay out of those situations if you can't handle the situation. The pit ain't for everybody, bro. Go to the fucking beer garden. Get some overpriced food. Sit in the grass. Chill. Listen to Travis Scott. And take your ass home.
Well,
and walk out faster than everybody else who's deep in the fucking pit, bro. Like,
it's the same thing when you go to fights in Vegas. You got to know when the fuck to dip, because there's fights all the time. The Rams game, every week there's a fight at a Rams game. The Rams-Titans game, this is dude.
Just people don't know how to be aware, man. People, I mean, and to your point, people are fucking crazy right now, just in general, because they don't know how to act. Because it's a weird time, but still,
they didn't know how to act before.
That's
and now
not a cop out.
You have children.
There's
going to
be
adults.
There's going to be people looking for a fight anywhere you go right now. Basically, at the fucking grocery store, you can get into a fight these days.
Those people are
over a grocery store or a fucking parking lot.
And that's what I'm saying. Those people are the problem everywhere they go. And sometimes you got to knock motherfuckers like that out and alleviate situations, but. In a situation where like that, where it's too many variables to control, yeah, somebody gonna get trampled to death.
And then people were trying to blame Travis, you know, because him and Drake were partying after, and you know they were trying to say he didn't stop the show and that his photographers didn't do what they were supposed to. But it's like, bro,
photographers are there to shoot.
It's their fucking job to shoot. That's literally their job, to keep fucking rolling, keep the shit on Travis Scott no matter what happens. Because you never know what's going to happen. That's the whole point.
Go to security for that if you want them to stop the show. He going to stop the show, and then it's going to get even more rowdy.
And then this week, someone surfaced the video of Travis saying, hey, check on your neighbor, blah, blah, which he does at every fucking show. He always does that. Hug your neighbor, check on each other, make sure everyone got water. Because fucking Travis is a rager. He's a rager, too. Like, come on, dude. Don't. That's what makes me mad about the situation. Is just like, don't get mad at the man for being himself. Like, don't embrace him and blow him up and let him get to the who's who of hip hop to where he's so big that he can fucking finally have his own shit in his own city and just fucking give back to his people and make some bread. And now you're just going to take it away from him. Not because he did anything outwardly bad. Maybe he didn't do anything good. Maybe he didn't react to the situation or respond to it how you would have. But he didn't do a Henry Ruggs situation. Like, he didn't do a John Gruden situation. Like, this man is just being the same performer he's been since he was selling out shows at a fucking rodeo. Like, come on, dude. Stop it. Have some accountability.
Which a lot of y'all don't, because you want to go to concerts and blame. You want to blame what people in the crowd amongst you did. And the motherfucker on stage is here to perform for you. But you blaming the performer who refunded everybody's tickets. That's money out of his pocket. He's taking a hit. His businesses are taking a hit because some assholes wanted to not trample people to death in a fucking
It's just like we talked about a couple years ago at Tyler shit when everyone booed off Drake, and it was like, you know, half the world
you selfish
thought
bastards.
It was funny, and then the other part was like, dude, this is the fucking biggest name in hip hop. And your selfish asses just fucking
booed him off stage.
Booed him off stage.
Ocean. That's why Frank Ocean won't come see you. You gonna boo Drake? You're definitely booing Frank Ocean. You know he's boring. For a bicycle, eat a dick. That's what he'll probably say. Well, Tyler will probably say that. Tyler will tell you all types of fucked up shit. But Frank will be nice and respectful, like 103,000 about it.
But it's just like what do you expect, man? What do you expect? These kids, they don't respect anything, and it's good because, yeah, you know, we're having this awakening, but also it's like they also can't look themselves in the mirror either. At least that's where it's headed. if something doesn't change.
I don't necessarily blame the children. I blame the adults for fucking up society and then allowing children. Children will always find a loophole. Guess what? I can't get mad for my nephew for headbutting the fuck out of me today. I gotta know he is still learning how to control his head on his shoulders. And if I'm holding him a certain way and he wants to turn his head the other way, he doesn't realize he doesn't have to swing the full fucking force of his skull.
So you're doing that Pete
in my
thing.
Face.
You're doing that Pete thing where like you just started doing something and you're talking like you're an expert on it. Just saying, you're only like 9 months into the process.
I've been taking
7 months into the process.
I helped raise my little sister too. She's like 23, so shut up. I've changed. I'm not new to this baby thing.
So you were 5 years old changing diapers.
When I was I was changing my sister's diapers. Me and my older sister we just told my mom to go away and lay down. We changed a lot of my little sister's diapers. We looked out for her.
And that's where it all went wrong.
Don't get your ass beat. No, it was like...
And that's where Kenny
lost
his self-preservation.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry I was really close to my siblings as a child. I'm sorry, Pete. We all can't experience that.
That's wonderful. Anyways, you ready for college football?
Yes, indeed. Okay, so here's the deal, right? Cincinnati began disrespected in the polls. They dropped down. At one point, they were second, but like in the college football poll, I think they're like fifth or sixth or some shit, possibly eighth. Now, Michigan State, I want to try to keep this in mind. Michigan State, like I said last week, beat Michigan 37-33, right? Kenneth Walker, the third or fifth or whatever, how many? Yeah, he the third, I think. He had like over 100 yards rushing and like 5 rushing touchdowns. So just keep this in mind. Michigan State is ranked behind Michigan. Michigan is like 7th. Michigan State, I want to say, Michigan is ranked 6th. Michigan State is ranked 7th. How the fuck is Notre Dame ranked 9th? Somebody needs to explain that to me. Who have they played? So Georgia, Alabama, Oregon, Ohio State, Cincinnati, Michigan, Michigan State, Oklahoma, Notre Dame, Oklahoma State. This is going to be a trash playoff, y'all. I'm just letting you know. It's going to be Georgia versus fucking Alabama in the national title game. And I'm not watching it.
So what we would have got in the previous format?
Because Oregon's going to lose to somebody in the Pac-12, bro. They're going to lose. Oregon's going to lose probably in the Pac-12 title game. If they don't get by Washington State, something's going to happen. Then Ohio State is playing Purdue, and Purdue's been knocking off all these top 5. They've beat like 3 top 5 teams this year. They clapped Iowa. They clapped Penn State, I think. They clapped just a bunch of top 5 teams in the Big Ten. And now they're playing Ohio State.
So top 5 to 9.
Yep. They might clap Ohio State. David Bell's a really good receiver for Purdue. Cincinnati's ranked 5th. And Michigan State is ranked behind Michigan, which amazes me. Because how do you beat a team head up and then they're ranked ahead of you still? But, I mean, that's because I think people really don't believe in Michigan State outside of Kenneth Walker, which is fair. There's like been this huge buzz for Pittsburgh quarterback Kenny Pickett to be one of the top QBs in the draft out of Pittsburgh. And I guess he just broke the all-time passing leader mark. I watched Kenny Pickett play. I'm not impressed. I don't think he's going to be a franchise guy. I think Sam Howell's better than him, but Sam Howell looks too much like Will Greer to me with more athleticism. So I'm not really sold on that. Now, this is a shocking hire, right? Jim L. Mora, former Falcons coach, former UCLA head coach, is now the head coach, probably the greatest head coaching hire in school history for the UConn football team. He's the next head coach. He's replacing, after Randy Edsall, the team's winningest coach of all time, who has a career losing record. Like a lot. He's lost a lot of games. Like, check on that man. He's gone through a lot of losses at UConn. But Jim Elmore is now the head coach at UConn. They're 1-8 this season. He's 59. He last coached at UCLA in 2007 before becoming a color analyst for ESPN college football.
2017, I think. You mean?
No, he coached in 2017, but he became like an analyst after that for like 2 years.
But you said 2007.
My bad. Oh, shit. My bad. Freudian slip. I was going back to his Falcon days 2004 when he...
Okay, you don't have to give your error more hindsight by defending him.
He's been around for a long time.
Yes, he was a 49ers defensive coordinator at one point.
He developed Brett Hundley, even though Brett Hundley didn't do shit once he got in the league. How about them UCLA guys? But honestly, I think Moore is the perfect guy for that because he can get a lot of transfers. He can, because, I mean, UConn's not a powerhouse in the state of football, so he can make UConn respectable.
They have players every now and then.
Every now and then, but
they have a few 4 and 5 stars.
No, they don't. They don't get 5 stars.
I'm sure they've had a 5-star. Let's look it up. This is the last 5-star out of Connecticut.
You can look it up, but okay.
All right, I'll look it up. Fine.
I'm telling you.
Finish your college thing.
I'm telling you it's never happened. Okay. Next up, when it comes to college football. So, Oklahoma has this huge quarterback controversy because, what's his face? Caleb Williams has been killing it, and he's pretty much Kyler Murray, but bigger. And Spencer Rattler, who was considered a Heisman favorite, this dude has all these videos coming back out about him when he was younger. People saying he was a shitty teammate in high school.
Are you ready?
Yeah.
You ready?
It wasn't Jordan Todman.
Dwight Freeney.
Dwight Freeney was not a 5-star recruit who went to UConn.
I'm just naming out players from the best players from Connecticut.
No, but I know there's been plenty of great players from Connecticut, but none of them went to UConn. So that defeats the point. Right there.
That's not what I'm saying. I'm just saying that there's talent in Connecticut, in the northeast part of the country.
But they don't stay home.
That's what I'm saying. That's why you got Jim Mora.
Yeah. We'll see what that looks like. So Deion Sanders got released from the hospital, and now he's back on the sidelines.
Joe Horn's from Connecticut.
Yep. And he's in a big-ass... somewhat like a wheelchair, but like a bed in a wheelchair. Out there coaching his team, Jackson State, I think is like 8-1 this year.
Bruce Campbell's from Connecticut,
and he got his he had some complications from his foot. I hope he still has all his toes because like they're not really saying what's going on with his foot. But I mean, they're 6-0 in the East Division of the SWAC. They're 7-1 overall, and they're gonna be playing Florida A&M. So, I'm rooting for Deion Sanders, man. But, they're saying he interviewed for the TCU job. We'll see what happens. But, yeah. The Cal-USC football game got postponed because Cal got COVID. They've had a huge outbreak. They postponed it to December 4th. And, yeah, these playoff rankings, they kind of gross me out. I just don't, even if Alabama loses, this is going to be the most ass-kickingest, championship game. This might be the weakest playoff ever. Let's really think about this. If Alabama loses, right, one more time, they're going to be out of the playoff. Or do you still put a 2-loss Alabama in over, let's say, Notre Dame if they win out, or Oklahoma if they win out, or Cincinnati if Cincinnati's in as long as they win. But Michigan and Michigan State are right there. If Ohio State loses to Michigan, then, do you take a 2-loss Ohio State or a 2-loss Alabama? Realistically.
I mean, you can't take both. Is not the point of having a expanded playoff format?
Yeah, but it's not looking great, man. It's not looking great at all.
It's just like they picked the one format to like easily fuck everything up. Like they should have just went with 8 teams or 16 teams and just made it easy. But instead they went 12 teams, which kind of just made it an extra game. Like you just really threw in extra games to make the teams who already didn't have a chance have less of a chance because they're just going to beat up on each other one more week before they get beat up by the big dogs.
Yep.
Right? Is that not a fair way to look at it?
Especially with the SEC and the Pac-12.
Like you just prolonging the inevitable. Which, by the way, tangent, but our podcast was posting Thanos memes before all you other sports media outlets. Go look at the fucking archives. TDs_tangents. Just saying.
When we were only getting 11 likes on that shit, and now we're getting like 200.
Now everyone wanted to use the Thanos meme this week for Odell and for Cam Newton and for a number of other things, but
now everybody want to see our meme and then post the same meme and then post a different quote. Like, nah, bro. There's a reason why, like, when we post some shit and the caption is the part that strikes you the most, the picture just catches your attention, but the caption, oh. But anyway,
this man over here trying to argue copyright and piracy by saying his captions make the meme transformative.
I mean, fair use, bitch. Fair use.
All right, so can we move on to touchdown or turnover?
Yeah.
All right. Or do you want to do take your tangent first? Whatever sound comes up first. That's what I like to hear.
That's pretty much, yeah. I really don't believe Kenny Pickett's going to be a good NFL QB, but okay. It's crazy.
All right, so first up, we got... Here, I got this one for you.
Oh, shit, Jimmy Lake. Did you want to save that for this, or...?
You can do it.
Okay.
But I'll go first. First up, man, news dropped this week. Former Utah Jazz great Deron Williams is going to face Frank Gore, former 49er and Colts great. Is that how we going? Frank Gore, the long one of the most underrated running backs ever.
Third all-time in rushing.
They're going to box on the Jake Paul, Tommy Fury undercard. You got to take her tangent on it, Kenny.
I mean...
Motherfuckers can't do cameo shout-outs.
Can we just be honest?
Like, y'all can't start a podcast network? Like, y'all can't invest in some Bitcoin or some tech shit? Like, really? Your only value to society is getting on a fucking app and beating the shit out of a fellow athlete? Like, that's what we've come down to?
That's been going on forever.
It's sad, man. It's sad because
Frank Gore had options to play for another NFL team.
I don't want to see Frank Gore get any more hits to the head. I don't want to see Deron Williams finally get in shape like for a fight. Come on, man.
That man is a father. He got like 87 kids, living his best life.
I'd rather see Deron Williams at the Drew, bro, hooping, doing what he does,
flushing on somebody,
coaching, teaching people how to play. Because I mean. He was kind of ahead of his time too, as far as being a big point guard. And then Frank Gore, like you said, he could still be playing in the league. It's like, is this really what we come down to?
Be playing in the league like what, 15, 16 years later?
And yet we can't even get fucking old rappers to fight each other.
We can't get boxers who actually want to box to fight each other. Fuck.
And that's the other thing that makes it sad too.
Canelo it makes cherry picks fighters.
Because it makes a great sport like boxing, a sport that I've always loved, even if I don't follow it seriously as I used to. Like, I enjoy boxing. I enjoy the sport of boxing. I enjoy the technique. I enjoy the personalities. I fucked up boxing was all the promotional shit. And the unions and all that and rights and
lack of unions.
contracts and exactly.
Al Heyman and
all the business fucked up boxing, and now
the business of boxing fucked
here
up
it
boxing.
is, like this Triller thing that's being really disruptive and is bringing some attention back to the sport is now just kind of like culturally appropriating it. Like
it's a slap in the face to boxing because boxing decided let's make more money and protect fighters instead of putting the best fights out there, and that's why UFC is still never going anywhere because boxing won't. Like,
and so,
Clarissa Shields had to go to UFC to really get a payday and get
and so now
recognized.
these two people who don't even know how to box are going to get in a boxing ring and just fucking wail on each other.
I mean, you ain't gonna fight Frank Gore.
And
I'm not fighting
fucking
Frank Gore.
kids are going to watch it and think that's what boxing is. And it's like, no, that's a fucking bum fight on a fucking app. And honestly, it's probably not even going to be as good as a bum fight.
But it's gonna get a bunch of fucking money.
R.I.P. Kimbo, bro.
Bro, his son's apparently a better fighter than him. But, like, Triller with Jake Paul, I'll give him this. The Paul brothers, they know how to market fights better than some of these boxers.
Definitely.
And they're going to get a bag. Their YouTube influencers getting a bag, bro.
And I've said this on the show
but
before.
But they can only get away with this because they're white.
I don't fuck with them. Like, anything they say.
As humans.
Their opinions. But as far as being a marketer, businessman, like, the Paul brothers know what the fuck they're doing. I will say that. And honestly, they're an example of like why you should let the 20-something-year-old actually have some fucking empowerment and some resources and some tools
Let
and
them be in charge.
Let them feel like they belong. Cause look,
because when you get like Al Heyman and what's the other guy that everybody hates? Damn it, it's right there on tip of my tongue. We know his name. Pacquiao's Bob Arum. Bob Arum, Al Heyman. Those are really the only two games in town, and Eddie Hearn. It's really those two and Eddie Hearn. Those are the three promoters, right? So if you're not on PBC and if you're not on Top Rank, Golden Boy ain't shit without Canelo. We know that. De La Hoya don't do shit, but get caught up in scandals. Like, Deontay Wilder and Tyson Fury saved boxing. Because who the fuck else did you care about fighting? Tank fights nobodies. Gary Russell could be fighting people. Shout out to Fred from the Barbershop Conversations. He's been doing that shit for years, calling out what's going on in boxing and other platforms. So, like, at least these cats know how to market stuff. You can get mad at the TikTokers and YouTubers, yeah. But smart business is smart business. And cats are getting paid on these undercards.
They are. They're getting paid. Yeah, they
are. Female fighters, like, they're actually getting huge paydays. Again, Clarissa Shields had to go to UFC. Boxing never really tried to promote her.
I tell you
properly. And she's a gold fucking glove boxing champion, one of the greatest female boxers of all time, arguably better than Layla Ali in terms of skill and just who she's beaten. But, you know.
I tell you what, if you put me, the Paul brothers, and Jackson Mahomes in the same room, I could tell you who's getting voted off the island.
That's racist because then he'd be the only black guy in the room.
Damn it.
And homophobic. You're a piece of shit, bro. And you said the F word this episode, or you're canceled.
Damn, man. Why are you turning against me? All the problematic shit you said.
No, I say shit that's true.
You said a lot of problematic shit.
Say it when. Say it. I'll tell you.
All I'm saying is,
you can't.
But all I'm saying is, the reason why I brought up Jackson Mahomes is just like,
you should have brought Jackson Mahomes up. You can say anybody else.
Like, there's a bunch of, like, to your point about the TikTokers, is like,
probably could have went to Kansas.
Like, there's a way to get famous and to get attention and to
not be annoying,
and to do it and to not be annoying, and to also create for other people. And that's the point that I'm trying to make. Like, you know, it's all social media influencers and YouTubers aren't the same. And you can see that really just by their content. Like, you could see who's all about me and who's actually trying to do something. Yeah. So.
Straight up.
All right, go ahead. Hit your next one.
Okay, so Jimmy Lake, you showed me this video. So Jimmy Lake got suspended for a game for pretty much pushing a player. He smacked him with some paper or whatever. Because he did a nasty-ass late hit out of bounds. So my question is, are you finally going to address your beef with Polynesian football players?
You're a lot, man.
I mean, you play in IE, so, like, there's a rivalry up there. Like,
all I'll say is this, man. Like, you don't get to just, like, be whoever you want on the field and then just expect to just switch it off as soon as the whistles come on. I know that's what your coaches will tell you, but as we know, it's really not realistic. And to me, like, I get it. You don't want to see your head coach get in the face of any players, but, like, come on, dude. He hit him with a stack of papers when he still had all his gear on, and then pushed him out of the way. Like, he didn't lock him in a room. He didn't berate him in the media. Like, come on. Like, he pushed him. Like, that's why it's like, again, man, to your point with the whole cancel culture, it's like everyone just wants to look like they're doing the right thing, but they don't actually think. Like, they don't actually think, like, dude, this shit happens all the time in football. Like, don't act like all of a sudden late hits never happen and coaches don't teeter that line.
I mean, you could just put up Alabama film of them hitting people late and never getting called for it. You can go back to the national championship game with Clemson where they lost, where Deshaun Watson got his fucking head taken off numerous times, and it should have been ejections galore, but Alabama doesn't get hit with those targeting rules. And to go back to the whole Polynesian point, culturally, and I've said this before, culturally, certain groups of people have been groomed to play football, and, like, it's treated like they can't be anything else. Oh, you're 6'5", 300 pounds, and you're fucking 14, you have to play football. Maybe he could be a fucking neuroscientist. Granville T. Woods was 7 feet tall. He created roller coasters and a bunch of other shit. Yeah, black people invented roller coasters. Google it. But when you think about the culture of what's considered tough play in football, dirty hits are a part of it. If you literally, there's certain times if you're raised around shitty coaches, they will be like, okay, tough physical play and hitting me till the whistle, even if you're away from the ball, which is kind of a dirty play, doing shit like that till the whistle is okay. And that shit, that probably ain't the first time he's been told not to do that. And let's be honest, when you played against teams that were predominantly either Tongan or Samoan, and if there was like a lot of black players, there's like some racial tension there. There's cliques on both sides. You saw Gridiron Gang, whether it was racial or gang related. Like, there's a schism there. That's a world within itself. If you're not really in that world, you don't really understand what the fuck we're talking about right now. But for those of us who do know, we know. So when you get like that big poly dude who he's really just big and he's getting recruited, but he really ain't shit. But all he does is beat people up, bully people. But you don't want to fight him in real life, or if you have to fight him in real life, you have to fight him and all his cousins. Yeah. And they get away with that shit. Or the little brother gets away with doing some hoe shit, and then he slides because he got all his other family members to protect him. Like, that's a real thing in football. Like, that's a real problem that people have with Tongans and Samoans, depending on where you grew up. So I think the point you're trying to make is if the head coach doesn't put him in his place and check him, nobody else was going to. Yeah, and if he doesn't put him in his place,
then that behavior continues,
persists and manifests, and then everybody thinks it's okay. Yeah, and then
I get it.
The thing you get away with is the thing that will ultimately be used against you. Yeah, so black players with anger issues, but white players have plenty of anger issues. But that aggressive play when you're knocking people the fuck out during the game will be used against you after your playing career is over, or if you have a slip up. That's what I'm saying. So like the same way.
I just think that player should have just stepped up and said, "Hey, like
I was wrong.
And
stupid shit on the sideline against Oregon."
And coach, I have no problem with coach. He checked me. We talked about it after. Talked with the guys after. Everything is good. Blah blah blah.
I've had coaches blow up on me in the moment, and the shit was like, "Yo, you went too far in that moment." My O-line coach and my head coach my freshman year fighting over me. They're like, "Bro, get off." My O-line was like, "Bro, get off his fucking back. He's been great all game. You only say something to him if he fucks up. You don't even compliment when he does something great. Like, that's because he's supposed to." I'm like, "No, you don't literally do that to anybody else but him, and you don't realize you're doing it." Or another player be like, "Just leave him alone. He's having a bad game, but he's going to get out of it in the second quarter. He just has a slow start." Coaches kind of know the temperament of their players. So they know I need to yell at you or get in your fucking face and grab you and say, "Hey, calm the fuck down." I need to smack you upside the head, but like, you know better. So this all goes down to culture and understanding. That's why it's a shame that there's not as many black and Polynesian head coaches. There's only like 2 Polynesian head coaches, and one's at fucking BYU and the other's at an academy school. The fact that there's so many great Polynesian players but so few head coaches, and there's so many black players but so few black head coaches, that means something when a man from that community is talking to you. Just look at the high school teams: Hawthorne, Lusinger, Lawndale, black men, Polynesian men, men from the community, men who understand the children and they can talk to and communicate with them because everybody grew up together. There's a melting pot. And we know customs. Like, yeah, that's cool when you around your cousins and shit, but don't bring that over here and do that on the team because that's not a good look. You're going to alienate yourself from everybody else when you act a certain way around your family and then try to bring that shit to the team. So, I mean, again, some of y'all who don't know the interpersonal relationships of race and football between blacks, Latinos, Polynesians, white dudes, like, you won't understand this. But what happened on that sideline with Coach Jimmy Lake and that player,
it's not a classroom, guys.
That was some learning textbook material. That was some shit you could learn from in a moment. That's a learning moment, but the rest of the world who wants to cancel everybody only saw a coach, quote unquote, being violent with the player when Nick Saban's done way worse this year. That's all I'm saying. I think we clarified that pretty well.
All right, well, let's move to touchdown or turnover. I think that was good for that segment.
Let me go.
All right, go ahead.
So Najee Harris called out ESPN reporter for fabricating a fucking story about him when he was homeless in college. He was sleeping on the floor, and it was just all types of dread. And he was like, "I didn't sleep on the floor. I slept in a bed in college, bro." Like, yeah, I was in a homeless shelter, but like, you got a lot of stuff wrong about that story, and he called him out on it. So touchdown or turnover.
It's a touchdown or turnover.
Did you actually hear about the story?
No, I didn't.
Okay, well, touchdown or turnover, Najee did right by calling out the reporter for pretty much getting a chunk of the story wrong.
I mean, I'm
painting him in a negative light.
I'm gonna say it's a touchdown because, again, who else is going to call him out? Who else is going to say you got this story wrong besides the person whose story it's about? And I also think, everybody loves a good homeless to Harvard story. And we've seen so many of them across football, and they're wonderful every time you see them. But also, that doesn't mean that you have to fish for them. That doesn't mean you have to take it there, because also it kind of recreates a stereotype, right? Doesn't that play into the whole, like, model minority thing?
Or the simplistic slave Negro who likes to sleep on the floor instead of sleeping on the bed because he's more comfortable. Steve Levy told us,
I don't know about that, but I think it's more
black
just
community,
like creating that stereotype.
That trope is real.
Creating that stereotype of like, oh yeah, everyone who plays football and is black is coming from this poverty and sleeping on the floor and desperation. And if they didn't make it, nobody else in their family would have, and nothing good would have came out of their life or their lineage.
Because it says ESPN Steve Levy told a story about Harris' freshman year playing at Alabama, where he allegedly spent his first few weeks sleeping on his dorm room floor instead of a bed because he was, quote, just more comfortable, just used to that, in reference to Harris being homeless during his childhood. And Najee Harris said they made
Dog, I slept on the couch.
Whole thing up.
Dog, I've slept on the couch. I've slept on the floor. I've done all that shit. And honestly, people really do sleep on the floor. Like,
it's comfortable as fuck sometimes.
The floor is pretty comfortable.
I've slept on tables.
It's usually cooler than anywhere else. You ain't got no fucking
the balcony.
Honestly, some of y'all shoes be cleaner than your fucking sheets. If we're really being honest,
so some of y'all don't understand that colors and colds,
and the motherfuckers
hot water,
just
cold water,
just be plopping on their bed and couches and got all types of holes in it and shit. Like fucking up his back. Like
some of y'all managed to not dust your fucking couch off the whole semester.
I get it. Sleeping on the floor is underrated. 100%.
Levy said he would be donating to his
but that's why
to his
but that's also what happens when you have somebody who's never been in that situation to where telling the story.
He said he's going to be donating to the Bigger Picture Foundation and encourage others to help. And also, they've been saying Najee Harris' name wrong.
Because, bro, like, imagine if we talked to him, right? And we talked to him. And,
I'm from Oakland, so I understand.
And he'd be like, yeah, like, I slept on the floor and shit. We'd be like, oh, okay, cool. Like, we slept on the floor, too. Like, oh, yeah, I used to sleep on this floor. Like, I slept on that floor. Like, oh,
to a bed, toes to head. We know what that means.
Okay, cool. But guess what? That's not going to be a fucking lead in our story.
That'll be like you. Like, we talked about all this shit, and you only mentioning the sleeping on the floor thing. That's passe.
Exactly. Yeah, and it's just like that's not the fact that we would fucking hinge our story on.
We would talk about.
It would be something we'd laugh about. It'd be something that we'd bond over.
It'd be a heartwarming story. It'd be like when Kanye said, the worst thing he ever did was sign Big Sean."
I don't know why you said it like that, but that really had nothing to do with this.
Because that's definitely the next question.
All right, go ahead.
So, touchdown to turnover. Kanye West on Drink Champs Part 1 said that signing Big Sean was the worst thing he ever did. And John Legend, but who gives a fuck about John Legend musically? But yeah, how you feel about that? Because he also talked about Just Blaze and Talib Kweli, which is actually pretty fair. Because, fuck
Big Sean is a sellout? Big Sean is a sellout. Big Sean is a sellout.
He put money in that woman in his mama's pocket.
You can't text Big Sean to his face. You can't text Big Sean and tell him he's a sellout. Big Sean is a sellout, but you had his fucking masters for 15 years. But Big Sean's a sellout. God damn it! If one more. Dog, if this podcast stops,
Get it out.
This podcast stops and you do a Charlamagne interview, just be expecting me to be outside in a fucking ski mask, bro. Like, I'm ending your life if you have a sit down with fucking Charlamagne. All right, that's the fucking line, bro.
That's when you know I sold out.
That's the fucking line. All right,
I gave up the masters to the podcast.
God damn, man. Shout out to fucking Soulja Boy, bro.
We took touchdowns and tangents to the Black Effect Podcast Network, which is owned by
y'all really gotta stop acting like you haven't had some of the best times of your fucking life to a Soulja Boy hook. Okay, let's just start there.
Speakers going blammer.
Besides
boy
that,
swag, y'all always wearing big ass t-shirts. Fucking on chicks that are mid at 27, but they were like dimes at 18.
I mean, if we really want to talk about it, he was kind of at the impetus of the switch over from boob to ass culture.
Wait,
we really want to talk
Did
about it.
you say impetus?
Yeah.
I feel like that's not the word.
Whatever. He was at the beginning of the fucking switch from
the precipice.
There you go, precipice.
This motherfucker.
Precipice. There you go.
You forgot a whole fucking part of
a whole fucking prefix.
Precipice.
I forgot the whole
bro.
The whole root fucking prefix.
Oh shit!
All of a sudden, Kenny's a fucking linguist.
I've always been a linguist.
Who fucking knew?
I was like, precipice, right? No,
God
you
damn.
said precious or some shit. I don't know.
I said epitus.
You mean there's epitome, epitome. I still got to find out how the fuck to say that because I'm like, no one says epitome. It's epitome.
Epitus is like the climax
impetus.
of it.
You mean impetus.
Like the yeah, there
with
you
an I, impetus, not precipice, but
whatever. That song "Dog" changed our whole culture. Is what I'm saying.
All I'm saying is I feel like you didn't get enough of the Big Sean energy out, and I feel like you're still holding on to it. Tell us how you really feel about how Big Sean's time went on Good Music. It really wasn't all that good, was it?
I'm just gonna say that.
Was he really the worst signing on Good Music? Because Kanye really wasn't doing shit for years.
I'm gonna just say this. Who the fuck is on Good Music nowadays? Because I don't know.
Anymore? Is it still Cudi? 2 Chainz got off.
I don't know, and I don't.
So
even,
much music.
2 Chainz was never even on Good Music. He was just hanging out with them. He was never actually signed.
Signed?
To them. No, he was never signed.
It was like Rockefeller when Joe Budden got a chain but didn't get a chain.
Basically, he was kind of like a free agent. He was just kind of vibing with them, blowing up his name. It's just like Travis Scott was actually not ever on Good Music.
Yeah, he never was.
He was signed as a producer on Good Music, but as a rapper, he was signed to Grand Hustle.
How do you compare? Like what? Who on TDE is the Big Sean of TDE?
I don't know, man. I don't know.
So you won't compare Big Sean to Kendrick?
What I'll say about Big Sean is this. Big Sean is a fucking great rapper. He's one of my favorite rappers. But like that man can really not put together an album. Like so whether that falls on Good Music or whether that falls on him, it's the same to me.
So he's a singles rapper, is what you're saying.
He's a singles rapper.
So is he above or below?
But he also has bars. He also has bars, and
Okay.
he also has songs that are like
A couple
low-key
hits,
outros or
party bangers.
Like his outros hit all the time. Like his intros and outros hit. He has bars. He's just really versatile. Like he can really do a little bit of everything. He could make a hit. He can make a ballad. He can make a rapidy rap song. He could make a trap song. He could do it all. And like. That's why fucking Kanye signed him. Like, dog, come on.
They called him a Democrat chill, but Big Sean was like, I'm not even
political.
Remember
that time. Remember that time. Big Sean, Drake, Kid Cudi, Wale, J. Cole, all those rappers pretty much came out at the same time. All right, the end of our high school era and into college. Like, dog, I don't even think you remember. Like, people were saying Fushon was better than Big Sean at that time. Like,
say who?
Exactly.
Say Flowshon?
Fushon.
Who the fuck is Fushon?
Exactly. Exactly. Exactly.
Like, I remember the XXL XL cover. I don't know who the fuck you just said.
Exactly.
And I remember Chris Houston.
The only other thing I'll say about Big Sean is this, like,
you still didn't tell me who he is on TDE though. He's not Absol.
No, he don't make beats like that.
So he's not Schoolboy Q. He's not that charismatic.
You can't compare Good Music to TDE because Good Music got a lot of rappers
who are already established.
Exactly. They signed Nas, they signed Common, they signed John Legend.
That don't fucking count.
Big Sean was really...
Common on Good Music don't count, bro.
Big Sean is like Kanye's only big discovery. Who else has he discovered?
You can't say Dwelle.
He's put people on. Like, he's helped people get to the next level.
Cudi? Nah, not Cudi.
But who else did Big Sean put on? And I get it, too. I get where Kanye's coming from because, like, he does know his mom. Like, Big Sean's rapped about it. How you say he's an asshole? He took me around the hills with my mom. Who in his fucking Benz when we were from Detroit didn't have shit. Who was doing that? Nobody.
And then when Kanye ran for president, Big Sean apparently, went against him. I just want,
but that's also that fucking privilege asshole shit where it's
billionaire shit.
everything I do is great, and if you don't support it, like, fuck you. It's like...
That's Gemini shit?
Nah,
that's
bro.
Just rich asshole shit.
Both. It's both. But yeah, I mean, I don't know. I don't know what else you want me to say about it. I wasn't really offended by it. I wasn't really afflicted by it. I kind of expected it.
You said he was a sellout. You kind of snapped for about 15 seconds.
Nah, I was just trying to fucking make the point that Kanye just got shit to talk about everybody, but he should be saying it to that man's face instead of fucking running to Charlemagne and saying it.
He was talking to Nori on Drink Champs.
Whatever. I thought it was Charlemagne. Fucking
it was Nori,
bald dude. My bad.
That's fucked up. That's really fucked up. And Nori's Puerto Rican. As Nori said.
That's what I said. I said bald dude. I didn't say black dude.
That's fucked up.
I said really bald dude.
That's really fucked up. I'm explaining to you in the car why that's really fucked up.
Why they got beef? Nori and Charlemagne got beef?
Nah, but
they
probably
got beef.
No, all those East Coast podcasters are like gross to me. Like, take Joe Budden. I mean, Nori cool, but I was never like a Nori rap fan like that. Like, yeah, he had a couple hot songs. I'm like, New York rappers think because they were hot in New York that they were the hottest thing ever, and it's like, bro, Nori wouldn't even make a top 20 list in California. If like there was a versus with Nori versus Game would wash him off the fucking face of existence. And I think E40's better than Game. By the way, one of my coworkers said that E40 sucks, and I was just like,
anyways,
lost a little bit of respect for you there.
All right, so do we have anything else for touchdown or turnover?
Fuck. Yeah. Okay. God damn it, I forgot it. Never mind. And if I remember it, I'll just save it for next week.
All right, well, I mean...
Oh, wait, no. Touchdown or turnover. All the local LA high schools around here, they're all in the second round of the playoffs. Meaning Inglewood, Hawthorne, Lawndale, Lusinger. Like, since you have connections to Lusinger, touchdown or turnover are them going all the way in their division.
I don't fucking know.
I know you don't follow high school football, so it just makes me laugh. Like, fuck it. We'll talk about it next week. There was a joke about Roosevelt in there, and you didn't get it, so never mind. Don't worry about it.
I don't get what the joke about Roosevelt is, because they're actually in a higher division than all the teams you just listed.
And I know, never mind.
Norco and Centennial are Division 1, sir.
Norco's D1? I thought they were D2.
They're the last seed in D1.
Bro,
well, D2, but it's technically D1.
Bullied in D1.
It's technically D1. Cause
it's not fair for it to be D1 anymore.
D1 is open. So it's
which isn't fucking fair because it's just going to be
shit.
Bosco and Mater Dei beating everybody in Corona Centennial. Shout out to everybody
that's what it should be.
Shout out to everybody who commented on that post, by the way, who said who talked about Corona Centennial, and apparently all that talent's homegrown.
I've been told you that.
But I was like,
okay, but I said,
but no, you said me. No, but I was like, because you said no, Centennial poaches talent
from the area.
From other schools,
not from the area. That's still
kind of adjacent to what Mater Dei is doing.
What I'm saying is nobody goes to Fontana and gets kids from there or
some are
necessarily Ontario. They'll get kids who should go to Norco, who should go to Corona, who should go to Santiago, and they'll go to Centennial, or Roosevelt, and they'll go to Centennial. But it's from Corona. They played together in Pop Warner. Like they're.
So it's not cherry picking, but it kind of is cherry picking.
Somewhat. I mean, it's cherry picking, but I guess you could say it's
Corona get transfers too now.
It's like picking the fucking fruit off the ground. Like, yeah, like you don't need it, but also. You just gonna let it go to waste?
It's some USC shit. Just stacking.
You just gonna let it go to waste?
It's like USC stacking 4- and 5-star recruits. It's like when they got Brian Bachman.
But to my point,
they didn't need him.
To my point, what I was saying about Corona Centennial is, the reason why they're so good and why they've been the best team in Southern California for 20 years.
One of the best.
No, they've been the best team over 20 years. If you look at their record
compared to
over 20 years.
Compared to modern day?
Yes, over the last 20 years, 15 years for sure.
They had a solid 8-year run of
for
nobody
15
was fucking
years.
with Corona Centennial.
15 years, the last 15 years, for sure.
Servite?
But what I'm saying is the reason why they have that is because they develop their talent. They pull those guys in the second and third guy. They mix guys in. They have their 5-star guys, but they also have the dudes who've played Pop Warner since they were 12 and just know how to play football.
Okay.
Like they mix those guys in too. Like they find what players can do well, and they let them do it. That's why they have multiple D1 players every single year.
Thanks for educating me.
Told you, bro. I mean, even fucking Eubanks was playing JV and varsity.
That Eubanks
and they had two, and he had 2 D1 quarterbacks ahead of him.
Berkovici, or did Berkovici go somewhere else?
No, Berkovici went to Todd.
Okay. So who was in front of? Was it
Martinez and then someone else, another one?
Because J.J. Taylor played on that team. Eubanks really was like baby Cam Newton, and then went to Arizona State, and then fizzled out. But yeah.
All right, so with that, I guess we get to the rants. You want to go first? Go ahead.
Sure. Man, I've been forgetting a lot of shit this week. I think I'm gonna just go get some more
ice cream.
Nah, not ice cream. I might get ice cream.
He lying.
I definitely probably get some ice cream. But man, like the holiday season's coming up. I was talking to my grandma today, and we were just talking about my nephew, and she started talking about like all the stuff I did when I was a baby that I don't really remember. And then she was talking about how like in the first grade, like what I used to do is like I would buy everybody snacks and candy and shit. And she's like, "You got like 5 girlfriends." I was like, "One of them I taught how to read," and we just started laughing. And she was like, "Yeah, you had like an insane amount of money for somebody who was like buying cookies at lunch every day. Like the lunch lady would literally just hook me up because she knew I was buying people food and shit." It's funny, like when the people in your life remember things about you that you just like, you don't even, I'm like, I don't know where that came from. You're like, no, that's who you've always been. And it's kind of like, it's kind of heartwarming. It's kind of like
somebody sees you.
Like somebody sees you before you even
saw yourself.
Exactly. Like they see you before you even saw yourself. And it's like, damn, that's some heavy shit. Like my nephew's one day is going to have no recollection of some of the stuff he's done as a kid, but he's going to do it and not know why he did it. And somebody gets to be there to show him a picture or tell him a story. Lineage is dope, man. So I'm thankful that like I'm living through it. I'm living through a lineage right now, and I can actually like see it in real time. It's almost like when Doctor Strange saw those different ways they could be Thanos. This is like I'm just seeing like, oh, this is the shit that like when you're passing something down from one generation to another and somebody's standing in the gap, like I'm the person standing in the gap, and I just have all this knowledge and information from both sides, and really what determines next is what I do next. And that's at times like the weight of my choices, like, damn, this is gonna be a bad choice. It's like depressing that if I make this choice, will it like fuck things up in the future? I'm kind of working through that. So yeah, it's weird. Like with me, like with my granddad, I think this is like 25 years he's been gone, damn near. And I'm looking at my nephew, and I'm just like, this is weird. This is like a weird process, like seeing the maturation of a man, of a boy, a baby coming into, you know, his own, and me going into another layer of manhood. Just living through it all at once in real time is kind of really humbling. So that's all I got to say. And Kanye's off his fucking rocker, and y'all need y'all need to get off Travis Scott's head.
The last point I'll make on the Kanye thing is like don't be a motherfucker who, like, don't call somebody a sellout if you've ever been called a sellout by anybody, period. I'll just leave it at that. Like, I don't want to hear a famous person call another famous person a sellout. Tell me what their city and what their people say. Like, because Detroit still loves Big Sean. So, obviously, he's doing something right. As far as all the other shit, like, there's some rappers, some great rappers, some top 5 rappers who ain't even loved in their city like that. And it's probably not their fault because it's kind of what happens when you grow up in the rap game. You don't learn how to be a good person. Like, really. If anything, you learn kind of the worst of humanity, really, being a child rapper. So, until somebody from his city comes out and is like, nah, fuck Big Sean. He ain't done nothing for Detroit rappers. He ain't done nothing for the city of Detroit. He ain't done nothing for his family. If his family comes out and says, yeah, fuck Big Sean, then sure. But another man who's made money off Big Sean, who's had his own questionable history, like, come on, man. Other than that, I'll just say it's been a crazy week for me. A lot of things have turned for the better. There's better days are coming, to quote Reason. I'll just tease it at that. But the takeaway from it all is this. One, last time I was here, because I was out last week. Shout out to Kenny for holding it down. He had a great show. I was in the chat the whole time, pretty much. But and part of that kind of pause that I took was from the Henry Ruggs shit, all the shit with the Raiders, like, and just all the shit in my life just fucking catching up to me. And a few days later, everything is looking up. So I'll leave it at this. Tough times don't last. Tough people do. That doesn't mean you got to be selfish or you got to withhold your emotions or turn them off or anything like that. What that means is you can get through it if you find and try and test systems to help you get through it. And if that doesn't work, ask for help from your people, your mentors, your God. Whatever you need, ask for it. And keep going. Because guess what? Like when you really think about this shit, and this is something, again, you know, when I was last here, Kenny wanted me to talk about my fellowship, and I was just, you know, still in the middle of it and tired, and, you know, I didn't want to, and we were late, so I didn't go in on it. But the value of finding a tribe is, like, really underrated, you know, and wherever you find those, in school, organizations, you know, where you work, you got to just really hold on to that, because those are the sort of things that fill you up, help you feel fulfilled, and exponentially allow you to do a lot more and to reach heights you never reached. That's what was really great about the fellowship that I did, was just being around all these great journalists and trying to problem solve all the same exact problems that we all face. It just makes you feel like you're not alone, and that you are special and your experience matters and you have things to offer, and you don't have to be cookie cutter, and you don't have to overthink and over evaluate and try to solve everyone's problems. You are great who you are, and that's who you got to show people. That's what you got to build around. So yeah, again, man, first of all, persevere. Second of all, ask for help. And third of all, find people to get you support. And with that, support people as well. Lead from where you are, wherever you are. You don't have to be a team captain to be a leader. You don't have to be a manager to be a leader. You don't have to be in leadership to lead. Like, you can lead from where you are. When shit hits the fan, do people come to you and ask you questions? Do you stay composed? Are you able to hold yourself accountable and disciplined to the things that you want and that you teach and that you believe in? Because that's leadership. When shit hits the fan, who do people look at? Right? And whether that's your friends, whether that's people below you, whether that's your family, that's where the leadership is. Who's following them? Why are they following you? Anyways, with that, shout out to Good News Sports, shout out to FBC Radio, shout out to X Squad affiliates, shout out to your favorite podcast app, touchdownsandtangents.com. Have a great fucking week.
Salute.